we're taking a look at a small wonder, a nettop, plus a gaming computer that you can actually afford. Also, Intel changes some of its plans to jump into the GPU arena, and a list of games that the New York Times thinks you should avoid, but we think are actually pretty good. We talk about that with the guys from HotHardware.com, Marco Chiappetta and Dave Altavilla.
This show brought to you by Zazzle. Use promo code TechVShow12 and get 12% off any order over $75 from Zazzle.com.
So this week we're talking with the guys from HotHardware.com like we always do. It's a tech enthusiast site. They cover a lot of different hot things in technology, go figure. This week we're talking about a couple different things. First on the list is a nettop from a company called Zotac. And Marco, you guys have had a chance to look at this. I don't know, kind of give me the breakdown of the basics of the Zotac.
Yeah, so it's a very cool system. The model number is the HD-ND01. Zotac calls it their MAG, their mini all-in-one giant. It's an Atom-based system that uses NVIDIA's Ion GPU. So you have dual-core Atom, NVIDIA graphics, all in this tiny little form factor box that sells for under $300.
Interesting stuff. So their goal here is to sort of say, this is a sweet computer and it's a nettop. Now, for people who don't understand what a nettop is, maybe explain that a little bit. I mean, I think people kind of get it, but
sure. It's basically just an underpowered small form factor system, great for a second PC, a kitchen PC. It's going to be good for the internet or office applications. And some light multimedia duty. It's just not quite as powerful as a full-size desktop system, but it's much more affordable, low power, and inexpensive.
What's the big highlight with this one? I mean, can it do anything cool like HDMI, or I mean, is it just what's sort of the peg here for anyone who's looking at the system?
Well, its differentiating feature is Ion, the NVIDIA Ion GPU. So it's got a capable graphics processor. So it's one of the few Atom-powered systems that could handle basically, any type of HD video workload. It does have HDMI out, has integrated wireless. Basically, an all-in-one system, sans an optical drive in this tiny little box. Cool little rig.
To me, it's like maybe I would hook up to my, my TV and use this for maybe a boxy box or something. I don't know. It looks cool. Other stuff we're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, on the other end of the spectrum, the cheap gaming systems. Now, of course, to game with any sort of performance at all, you're gonna have to have something a little bit better than the Zotac. And Dave, you guys took a look at a bunch of them. Give me a breakdown of some of your favorites.
Sure. Yeah, we actually did a sort of best bang for your buck gamer's PC buyer's guide, and it wasn't the deep dive that we usually do at HotHardware.com when we look at individual systems, but it was a high-level overview of rigs starting at about the $500 price range, going all the way up to about $1,700. And at the low end, we looked at guys like iBuyPower and CyberPower PC. These are online e-tailers, if you will, that'll build you a nice rig. iBuyPower's Black Mage, for example, is a $500 box that has an Athlon 2 X2 240 dual-core processor from AMD, 4 gig of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GT 240 graphics card. And it will offer a moderate amount of, pretty good gameplay on just about any leading-edge title on the market today. And I would say, in the mid-range, kind of my favorite, the sweet spot, if you will, is CyberPower's Gamer Extreme 3000. This is a mid-range rig, goes for about $1,000 just for the box. But here you're getting a top-of-the-line Intel Core i7 860. Again, probably not the top-of-the-line Intel processor, but on the higher end of the spectrum for sure. All the performance you'd need to game, along with an ATI Radeon HD 5770 graphics card. This rig's going to allow you to game at real high resolutions at 1920 by 1200 with anti-aliasing turned on and all the bells and whistles graphically turned on and graphical effects to give all the eye candy you can get.
Well, so with these computers, you're not actually going to sacrifice too much in the ways of performance, but they're still a little bit cheaper. I mean, are they just sort of in that sweet spot where price kind of meets performance?
These are online system builders and e-tailers that put together systems, and we know they're a better quality type of machine, but they're not boutique system builders like guys like Main Gear or Alienware. These are a little bit more value for the money, maybe a little bit less glitz and polish in the case and fit and finish, but well-built systems. On the higher end of the recommendation list that we brought forth, we had Alienware's Aurora. Now, Alienware, known for a real high-end PC manufacturer, super high-end gaming rig, they actually had a pretty good value in their Aurora system, where you get a Core i7-920, 6 gig of RAM, and an ATI Radeon HD 5870. This is a top-shelf single GPU graphics card, a terabyte hard drive in there as well, and that machine will play anything on the market at 2560, 30-inch panels, that kind of resolution. So real good stuff there at the high end, about $1,700.
Interesting stuff. So I mean, it seems like, I don't know, I guess I really haven't been in the building my own computer game for a while, but it seems like you might actually get a better deal if you go with one of these systems integrators, as it were, than just kind of building your own rig. Is that sort of the case, or am I totally off base there?
Well, not quite. Yeah, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you can build a good custom rig yourself, you're going to save some money putting the components together. So we always advise, if you've got the knowledge, the know-how, the time, the patience, build it yourself. Do it yourself is the way to go. However, that said, a lot of folks don't have the time. They may not have the knowledge. They may not have the patience.
Yeah.
And certainly these rigs provide some real good value, much more so than perhaps some of the other machines we've seen out there that are a little bit pricey for what they have to offer.
All right, other stuff we're talking about, Intel's planning to launch some sort of retail GPU in 2010. I don't know, Marco, can you kind of give us what's going on with this story?
Well, yeah, for the last couple of years, we've been hearing about Intel's Larrabee project, which was going to be their first discrete GPU, in a number of years. Now, for literally, I think 2 or 3 years now, we've been hearing about its, impending arrival, impending release. Unfortunately, it's running behind, both in terms of hardware and software. So Intel has scrapped their plans to launch a discrete GPU next year. Larrabee, as we know it, is not going to arrive at retail.
So, they've scrapped their plans. Is it all to, like, we're just not going to see it ever, or is it just for next year, or what's sort of the state right now?
So it's just the first retail release has been scrapped. The project is not stopping. It's just the first products are gonna arrive more for development platforms or specialty HPC type applications. But they're going to continue development on future versions of Larrabee. So eventually, I think we are going to see a discrete GPU from Intel. It's just not going to happen as soon as we thought.
Interesting stuff. Last, talking about the New York Times list of games to avoid. Now, they put out a list of games that they think are objectionable in some sort of way. But Dave, we were talking before the show, and it actually kind of looks like a guide of games that you should buy because they're pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's an ironic list, and I'll start by saying that we're not trying to take shots at the New York Times, but and they're a top shelf, long-standing, old time publication. I mean, these guys are great over there, but they sort of missed the mark in our opinion with this article, and we wrote up a little bit of sort of a counterpoint sort of perspective on this thing, and I think the New York Times was attempting to put together a list of games that were something to be cautious of if you're younger than M for mature aged kid, right? Maybe a 14 or 15-year-old. I mean, let's face it, I'm sure a lot of kids are asking for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Yeah. It's a hot title, blockbuster title. And these are games that you should avoid. Well, guess what? There's some great games on this list. And as a parent, it's your responsibility to preview the content and understand what the ratings mean on the box. And, that's why they're there. And thanks for the list, New York Times. It's a great list of games, but of course, they're in for mature. You don't buy them for kids.
Yeah, exactly. So, guys, we're going to leave it there. Hopefully your Christmas shopping got a little bit easier from the New York Times. Anyway, Marco Geppetta, managing editor from HotHardware.com. Thanks for coming on the show. Also, Dave Altavilla, thanks for coming on as well. I'm Randall Bennett, and don't forget, we're just on iTunes, we're on YouTube. And we're going to go get our shopping on, so we're going to go over to Hot Hardware, check out those game console or game computer rigs, and see if we can pick up something for our loved ones. Anyway, see you later.